Hello guys, my name is Balkrishna Shastav and welcome to Code with BK. So in this video, we write Java code solution for question 9 of ISC 2024 Computer Science Specimen Paper, which is this question. So before we begin, it is a request to please subscribe to my channel, because out of 100 viewers, only 1 or 2 are subscribed, and a subscription is very important. So please do subscribe to my channel. So let's begin. So this is the question that you have been given. Alright, so take a minute and give this a reading. So you are given a class shelf, which is basically a data structure. You have to fill functions pushVal and popVal. Okay, you have to define these two functions only. You don't have to write a main, and you have to name the entity described above. Okay, so this is basically a queue. It's a very standard ISC computer science question. Okay, there are questions from previous year's papers which are based on a very similar description. Okay, so since you don't have to write the entire class shelf, I am going to write class shelf with constructor, data members and display, and then I am going to fill popVal and pushVal. So let me write the class shelf. Okay, so this is my class shelf. It has this array as a data member to store decimal numbers. Okay, that's why the data type here is double. You have int lim, which is basically the limit, the maximum limit of the shelf, that is the size of this array. Then you have two variables, front and rear, to point to the front and rear. So queue has a front, queue has a rear. So if you want to add new values to the queue, you always add to the rear. If you want to remove values from the queue, you always remove it from the front. Okay, first in first out is the principle that is followed. Okay, so I have coded the constructor and the display method, but I have kept it hidden because when you solve this question, you won't be getting these two codes. Okay, you won't be getting the display function and the constructor. So you have to make certain assumptions based on the description of these two, right, and then code these two functions. Okay, the first function is void pushVal to push decimal numbers in the shelf at the rear end if possible, otherwise display the shelf is full. The first question is, how do I know if the shelf is full? Okay, so your front and rear, okay, both start at 0, both start at the first index. So if I want to add a value to rear, rear can only move forward, so it goes to index 1. If I add another value, rear goes to 2. If I add another value, rear goes to 3. From 0, rear cannot go to -1. So when I add values at the rear end, the index rear increases by 1 every time I add a value. Okay, so based on this logic, when do you think I cannot add any more values to rear? That happens when rear reaches the end of the array. Okay, when rear becomes the size of the array, which is limit. Alright, so the shelf is full if rear is equal to limit. Okay, so if rear is equal to lim, okay, the capacity of this array, you display the message shelf is full. So system.out.println shelf is full. Okay, all right, and you return. Okay, so if the shelf is not full, I add the new value in this ELE array at rear index, which is equal to v. Okay, I move rear forward, that is I increment the value of rear by 1, and this is my pushVal function. Okay, moving on to popVal. So popVal is to remove and return the decimal number from the front end of the shelf if any else return. Okay, now this says that you have to remove the values from the front end of the queue. So the first value to be removed from the front is the value that has been added first at the rear. Okay, that is why it is first in first out. So the first value that was added to this ELE array was at index 0 because rear started at 0. The next value would be added at index 1 and then index 2 and so on till limit -1 till the last index. Okay, so the first value that is to be removed will happen from index 0. Okay, but how do we know if this shelf is empty, that there are no values to return? That happens when front and rear are at the same index. Because when object of the shelf class is created, front and rear are both pointing to 0, and that is the condition which is basically for this empty shelf. Okay, so if front equal to rear, okay, in this case it says return -999.99. okay, you return the exact value that's mentioned in the requirement. Okay, this is the condition if the shelf is empty. Okay, now if the shelf is not empty, front is less than rear if the shelf is not empty. So when you remove value from the front, front will also increase. Okay, so I say double popped value is the value at front index of element, front goes forward and you return the pop value. Okay, all right. So this is the implementation for the two methods. Okay, let me write a main to test this out. So this is my main. So let me just comment all this. Okay, so right now all I'm doing is I'm creating a shelf and I'm trying to pop a value which I won't be able to pop. I will get minus 999.99 because my shelf is empty when I create it, and then I display the shelf. Okay, let me show you this display and constructor as well. Okay, so Java C question 9. Okay, popped value is minus 99999 because the shelf is empty, and this is my output for the display. Shelf elements are blank, there is nothing inside the shelf. Okay, I clear. I will push three values. Okay, 3.5, 19.46 and 2.67. Okay, so clear, compile, run. Okay, so this was the first output. So this is the output from the first pop. Then we push 3.5. So to an empty shelf 3.5 is added. Okay, and becomes this. When you push 19.46, it is added to the rear end. Okay, the front is on the left, so this is the front, and rear is on the right, so the new value is added on the rear side. 2.67 is also added on the rear side. Okay, and front is 3.5. Okay, so when I pop, okay, when I pop, so clear, compile, run. So when I pop, the value at the front comes out first because it was the first value to go inside. Okay, so pop value is 3.5, and then 19.46 comes at the front, so the next pop is 19.46. Okay, we push again. Okay, so when you push 7.43 to this, it goes to the right end, which is the rear end. Okay, so push 7.43 comes here. Okay, push 7.43 comes at the rear end. Okay, then we have two more pops. Okay, clear, compile, run. So popped 2.67, popped 7.43. Okay, so the number of pushes we have had is 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I can push one more value. Okay, I'll say 8.1. Now this is the last value I can push. I cannot push anything after this. I'll just show you. So let me just push this. Clear, compile, run. Okay, so I was able to push 8.1, but if I try to push again, say if I say I try to push, say maybe 87.13, 87.13, 87.13, okay, I will get shelf is full error. Okay, the message, not the error. Okay, shelf is full. When you try to push 87.13, the shelf remains the same. Okay, because after 8.1 I cannot add, and that is because I have had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pushes, which is the limit of this shelf. Okay, and that is happening because you are incrementing rear when you are adding a value. So when rear goes to the end, when rear becomes limit, so for a limit equal to 5, when you added 5 values, rear goes from 0, 1, 2, 3 to 5. Okay, and then rear never decreases. Okay, there is no code that says rear minus minus. Okay, all right. So in this case, considering this data structure, if you have a limit 5, that is the number of maximum pushes you can have in this data structure. And the naming here is a little confusing because we usually use push and pop with stack, but they are using push and pop with queue. Don't get confused there. If your concepts are clear, you should be able to understand this. Okay, we do use enqueue and dequeue with queue mostly, but push and pop also works, so don't get confused. Okay, all right. So these are the two functions that you had to complete, and there have been many questions in the past based on this very data structure queue, that you have a front and a rear, and you have to write push and pop. Okay, so this was the solution to this problem, and I hope this was helpful. I will also add the link of this code in the description of this video. You can download the code from there. And I have also solved other questions of ISC 2024 Computer Science Specimen Paper. You can find the links of those videos in the description as well. Okay, so let me know your thoughts on this video, and you can always let me know in the comments if there's a question you want to solve or if there's a concept you want to discuss.